Welcome to Radio On. Here we are in Gorley Park, the Rebel Park. And it's summer, it's Berlin, it's hot, no one sleeps. And my guest today is Ollie, Irongiant.
Hello,
Ollie,
hello. Nice to see you, Adrian.
It's been so long. I was thinking...
It's been a long time, yeah.
How long do you think? 20 years? 22
possibly,
years?
Yeah. When did you move out here?
That was in Brighton. We were living in Brighton. Well, I was living in Brighton and you're on tour?
I've been on tour here, but at the moment I'm just spending a week as a bit of downtime after the whole coronavirus. I've been dying to travel, you know. So,
good idea, yeah.
And my friend Taylor, who's a performance artist, offered for me to come and live in her space and
fantastic
in her art space and
you've been
explore.
here for a week so far, haven't you?
I have been, yeah.
And I had a dream with you this morning because I've been thinking about you every day, and I guess it's like I said, I think I've built a little shed, a dream shed in my psyche for this particular moment, this special, awesome moment. And I think in the dream this morning we met in a church and we had an interview in a church, and that kind of connects me because connects us perhaps. Yeah. I mean, it was 20 years ago today when I think we met, and we knew each other for a few years before then as well. And actually we lived together at one point, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
In a battle, the Battle of Trafalgar, was it? No, it wasn't Trafalgar, it was by the seafront in Brighton.
It was a street that led to the sea, and it's like on the border between Brighton and Hove. And we lived on the top floor, and I remember when you left the flat there was a great rushing of energy that night.
Whoa, no way. Were there like shooting stars and things like that?
Yeah, as I was sleeping, we'd already moved everything out of the house, and I remember the ceiling disappearing and you could see the sky rushing above.
Amazing, yeah. I just had to leave the UK.
Yeah.
Yes, my dream.
Like leaving of all the spirits that we'd conjured.
Now, of course, with Brexit and everything, and the pandemic, and everything's in the air. It seems
everything is has an air of change about it. Everything is lots of slates have been wiped clean that were there before.
It seems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, I've been looking you up, Ollie, on Discogs.
Okay,
right?
yes, yeah.
In fact, if you look up Oliver Irongiant on the net, there's about 1 million sites with your name on, Ollie. And yeah, so there's, first of all, I was going to talk about there's so many bands.
I've done a lot of bands since I saw you last, because I remember when we were sharing a living space, I was doing a lot of ambient drone using guitars.
I've put down controlled feedback on my list.
Controlled feedback is more accurate, yeah.
Because you're an artist, you were at the art college at the time.
That's right.
And you were doing these gigs, which was like, I think you were facing the audience, but I like to think that you were not facing the audience.
Sometimes
facing the
I would,
amps
and sometimes I wouldn't, yeah. But that was much to do with, as you're saying, using feedback to create a sound world picture. Moment, and there's when you're using extreme overdrive and fuzz to create the feedback, you obviously turning your guitar will bring you much different textures, and the pickups will react differently to the speakers in this three-dimensional.
I really want to say electro-harmonics here.
Yeah,
big fan.
I was using the Memory Man a lot.
I
still do, and the Big Muff from Electro-Harmonics.
We're not sponsored by Electro-Harmonics, but if you're listening, Electro-Harmonics, we'll get in contact with you. Okay. Anyway, but now it seems that there's like a, dare I say, heavy metalist sort of direction, should I say?
That's kind of the path that I've ended up taking. Yeah, I was doing some kind of more hardcore bands. I was in a band called End the Agony with my friends Dan and Jamie.
Oh, I don't have that on my list.
Yeah, that was an early one. They both performed in a band called Cat on Form, which was very much a hardcore band in Brighton. And when that finished, they were doing End the Agony and brought me in as bassist and vocalist, and that was kind of more like rudimentary Pinot style.
Oh, I used to love that. I still love their stuff. In fact, I think they have another album out, strangely enough.
I think I heard something about that. Yeah. They're some of the best riff writers that I've ever come across, but they don't like playing live.
Okay. But, I guess with a name like rudimentary Pinot, maybe. But I don't know.
My favourite album by them is called Death Church. bringing back the church. Yeah.
Is that the White Album with like black outlines?
He's an incredible artist, and he'll often do very detailed, very tortured stories within pictures and pictures within pictures, and it's all done with a fine line of pen.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
right. But let's talk about you.
Okay,
Ollie. Dead Witches. I've got a few band names here.
Yeah.
Dead Witches, Astral Rebirth, Sea Bastard, Gravelines, which I think is Gravelines,
Gravelines is my current big project.
Okay, and there's a new album fed into the Nihilist engine,
That's
I
the
should
one,
say.
yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, because it's an amazing
it's
title.
a double album, and
Double album.
Yeah, we're all from the doom scene. We're all doing like pretty heavy doom bands before Gravelines, and we wanted to work together after my band Sea Bastard and Warwolf.
Oh yes,
yeah,
we said that.
They'd split up. We were kind of like somewhere between metal and hardcore, and Sea Bastard was very much a heavy doom. Yeah.
But they're great names like Dead Witches, Warwolf, Sea Bastard. I mean, there's t-shirts. Are you wearing one of your own t-shirts?
No, this is Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. Yeah. The producer of this album died the other day, so it's
yes, I saw you put it up.
Yeah.
I think on Facebook and.
He did many of the great rock albums around that time. So it's kind of a.
So it's a homage, yes, in Gorley Park, the rebel park for dogs.
Yeah.
If you want to bring your dog here, it's one of the few parks in Berlin where they roam free.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Amazing, Berlin. Yeah.
So I was doing Warwolf. That was kind of a spontaneously created band. They were the other two members, the rhythm section. Paul was doing bass and vocals. I was doing guitar and vocals, and Ant was doing drums. And we wrote the songs all together. Their band, Dope Fight.
Another great name.
Amazing riff-based, kind of very Sabbath worship band. They imploded very suddenly, and they had this flight booked to Canada, to Windsor, Ontario, to record at Serafina Studios with Nick Kinnish. So they just said, well, we've been talking about doing a band. Should we just, we've got 2 weeks, should we write an EP or a mini album? And we did. We got straight to work, and we created Riding with Demons. And then and that was in the winter, dead of winter. And then we went back again in the summer, and it was hotter than it is here in the park right now.
It's about 33 degrees at the moment, so it has veered towards 40 degrees this week.
Yeah, it was punishingly hot when we went to record the second album. So yeah, and that was a great band. We played some big festivals and stuff.
And Dead Witches, you've got this great album titled The Final Exorcism, which came out in 2019. I mean, you don't seem to have stopped, Ollie.
I haven't, no. I like to keep myself busy.
This is your rest time.
Yes, it is, yeah. It's generally, I generally like to have at least one, but usually 2 bands going at a time at the moment.
Wow.
And I like to have that kind of split. So Dead Witches, they'd already had one album out, and sadly Greg, their guitarist before, who recorded their first album, he died. So I got drafted in on guitar, and we started with a singer called Virginia, and she left before we started the second album, and the drummer is Mark Greening from the legendary Electric Wizard. He was in the original lineup of Electric Wizard, who I was a fan of their work before, and when he asked me to join, things were that they were in a kind of transitional time, so I started writing a lot for them, and then we got Susie Chameleon in on vocals, and we wrote this album, and we went on tour. We came through here last year.
Was that a European tour then? So you're in Berlin. What other places did you do?
We were doing a Germany tour, so we did 4 dates I think in Germany. So we travelled around, and we played here at a kind of squat warehouse type place over that way. Trying to remember.
In Friedrichshain, Revelerstrasse, maybe Warschau. Anyway, Friedrichshain.
They've got a little cinema next door as well.
Oh yes, another place.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. But was that the first time you came to Berlin, or you've been before?
I've toured through here before. I might have been. I think it was Sea Bastard. I toured through here with before. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But last time I had a bit of time. I stayed with Taylor again and went to see her perform at the Kit Kat Club after we played. So that was a nice full evening.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though we were only here for just over 24 hours. So
Right.
yeah. So we still got to experience quite a lot, but it's been so nice to spend a week here this time and really get my nose around this. Yeah.
And so what have you been doing this week then?
I've caught up with a lot of old friends actually.
Because you were looking for someone, weren't you? I remember.
Yeah, and I found him eventually. My old friend Kai. He played in a band called Sloth, and he also is like doing a lot of ambient drone at the moment, into the kind of techno side of things. But yeah, has a very shamanistic approach to his art, and I really I've had a strong bond with him for over like 15 years now. So yeah, he's from the old Brighton scene and ended up moving over.
How has Brighton changed as far as the music scene's concerned? Because it was always very eclectic is the first word that comes.
There used to be such a vibrant noise scene there, and there was quite a like math rock or kind of like
I've heard of this. I've heard of this
rock thing going on.
Can you describe what this is? Math?
Yeah, it's just a kind of like
it's a genre. So for the listeners out there,
it's kind of it's very wonky, but like like you'd have really odd time signatures with the riffs, and you create this really crazy kind of world with it. But that whole scene seemed to like dissipate, and now we've got a lot of heavy metal going on in Brighton now. But I'm living in London now, so I moved up to London. Just over a year ago.
Where
I still would go down to Brighton.
Okay, interesting. Because I also have a question about the Prince Albert connection.
Yeah.
And you have a connection with the Prince Albert pub, I should say.
Yeah, I managed it for over 8 years.
Amazing. That's
with the great Chris Stewart, who's been the independent owner of it for many years.
So for our listeners, of course, you don't know, maybe you may not have heard of the Prince Albert, but it's very close to Brighton Station, and it was a cult bar, I think.
Yeah,
with,
it's a wonderful
performance space upstairs.
Wonderful music venue and bar.
And John
we had
Peel
Wire play there. And
Wire, amazing.
Yeah, and they did a weekend, so they'd play over the weekend many times. Yeah, and we had Nina Cherry play there as well on a comeback, so some secret shows, and it's a legendary place. I
used to live next door to there before I moved into the place where we lived on the seafront. I lived it would have been a Jewish gentleman's clothes shop next door, and the manager was the previous manager of the Prince Albert pub. Yeah. I remember, and it was haunted. This place.
Very, very haunted pub. It's the most haunted building I've ever been in. Yeah.
Okay, then we can talk a little bit. Maybe I should also say that I did a naked dance performance in the basement on top of the pool table once.
Right.
Because someone said that there was the ghost of 2 girls or young sisters or something.
Yeah, I've heard about this one.
What's that story?
I experienced
a lot. Cough, cough.
I experienced a number of different entities in the Albert, much more than I've experienced anywhere else. I think the first thing that I noticed was like a couple of nights into working there, I'd put all the stools up in the venue on the benches, and we were all sitting down to have a drink and a cigarette after our shift. And we had this massive bang, and like one of the stools had been thrown into the middle of the dance area or the audience area in the venue. Right. That was the first thing.
That's on the first floor, isn't it? I think, as I remember.
Yeah. And then there's this other thing that happens whenever there's an electrical storm, where the door to the cellar, which is locked and bolted, will unlock itself and unbolt itself during the electric storm and open.
Amazing. That happened a few times.
Yeah, that happened twice. Whilst I was there, and I was told about it happening another couple of times. Because that was obviously something that needed to be locked up. And then there's the footsteps that appear down the stairs, coming down the stairs into the main bar when everything is quiet, and you can hear the footsteps and sometimes see feet, but nothing, disembodied feet, which is, I think, linked to the girls. Yeah.
So you have heard about the girls. I mean, it was a story that we were told, but
yeah, it got passed on to me as well.
Yeah.
But the most foreboding thing that I had,
saving the best till last.
This, and I don't often feel complete dread when I come across something that's supernatural, but one time it was a Friday night and it was so busy, as busy as you get at the Prince Albert, and I was rushing downstairs to change a barrel, and it's in the kind of state of mind where you would not be spooked by anything. It's just like go, go, go. And there I was, like, uncoupling the barrel, and I felt this kind of buzz around the back of my neck, and I looked over to the door and I saw this fuzzy shape, very clear but fuzzy around the edges. It was black, and it moved it moved across the doorway to where the hatch goes, where you get your beer deliveries from, and it felt so terrifying that I just ran straight back upstairs without changing the beer, and everyone was like, "You look like you've just seen a ghost." I was like, yes, I am very terrified. But yeah, that's an unusual reaction for me, and it's something to do with the nature of the entity, the phantasm. Yeah.
So you're sensitive to this, would you say? But other people also picked up on it in the Prince Albert?
I don't think it's particularly because I'm sensitive to it. I mean, I think a lot of people in there have been. Yeah,
because I think I remember the old manager also talking about it. Because our house next door to this, which was there was the Hertz garage, and then the house was next door, and then they started doing some big renovations, and then strange stuff started going on in the house. I just felt stuff, but my girlfriend at the time said she saw things, and so yeah, it's an odd sort of area to be in. But yeah, I know the bar was definitely had these kind of I want to say adventures, things that were going on, bumps in the night, and stuff. Yeah, it's a place of many phantasms, I'd say. I know that Captain Sensible used to frequent the place quite a lot, and a lot of other well-known sort of people. For you young uns out there, Captain Sensible, look up The Damned, you know.
A great old goth band, and he used to be a big fan of Terminal Outputs, which is which is an improv duo that I did with my friend Dallas, who's Canadian. He lives back in Vancouver Island now, but we were a crazy guitar feedback type band, along the lines of Glenn Branca, Sonic Youth, but like he loved to come in to watch us play at the Free Bar or the Albert. You know,
all these names, all these memories coming back. And John Peel was, I think, on the side of the Prince Albert pub. There is this collage.
They did a mural of him, and then eventually there were so many of our heroes dying. We made a massive mural on the wall. It was done by Rec, REQ, a local graffiti artist. But
look up John Peel as well.
Yeah, he was the DJ of our youth, wasn't he?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, on Radio 1. BBC Radio 1.
Yep. Yeah. And he was responsible for launching the careers of countless artists. Yeah. The Fall, etc., etc. What can I say? Yeah. Did you ever write to him?
But I used to tape his radio shows.
Me too.
Especially when there was a session on.
Yeah.
Going back to Brighton and how it's changed, like there's a really vibrant metal scene there now at the moment. But also there's lots of things that aren't part of a scene, and my friend Nick Hudson is in a band called Academy of Sun, and
a great name again.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys.
And he's created with his band an immense gothic, almost pop, very esoteric album built around sigils and rituals, and there's even a song about Countess Bathory on there, and I think you'd like it very much. So yeah, he's released this double album called The Quiet Earth with Academy of Sun, and I would highly recommend anybody that's into esoteric or gothic stuff to get into that.
I mean, this program is just so full of research. You know, if you want to find out about new stuff, and all stuff as well, and classic sort of things. So how would you define heavy metal? It's probably been asked to you so many times, Ollie.
Yeah, it's something that was born out of heavy rock, and something that became a lot more kind of like drawn to the darker things and drawn to like satanic imagery and stuff. But I feel like I've always been making heavy music, whether it be improv stuff or heavy shoegaze stuff or whatever I've been up to. It's always been heavy, and that slowly pushed me into the metal side of things, which is obviously heavy in nature and concept.
Does it come from William Burroughs' book, Heavy Metal?
Yes,
originally?
It does. Yeah, you're right.
Vaguely remember.
Yeah. I think he termed a lot of phrases to do with music like punk. I think that comes from him, and I think grunge might come from him as well. But yeah, Burroughs was quite the character.
He should be on the side of the Prince Albert pub as well.
Yeah,
maybe.
he should be, along with Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay, I really want to come to tattoos as well. This is a tattoo part of the interview.
Okay, and, awesome. I have a new addition to my hand.
I was going to say, on your right hand, you have this amazing sort of just a skull.
It's a skull, yeah.
Yep. And it's brand new.
It's brand new, and I got it here in Germany 2 days ago from my dear friend Benjamin Moss, who works at Apocalypse Tattoos. And, if you've not been to Apocalypse Tattoos, it's a beautiful shop to start with. He's created this amazing dark Gothic atmosphere in there. The ceilings are like somewhere between cathedral and cave.
Nice.
Which he's built himself, and he's got this amazing giraffe skull on the wall, lots of human skulls around, and yeah, it's a beautiful shop, and he works there with a couple of other very talented tattooists. But I met Benjamin for the first time when we went to Black Metal Festival, which was a kind of regathering of a lot of the black metal artists from the 90s,
right.
Curated by my friend Yannicka, who's also a tattoo artist in Bergen. And Benjamin's one of the people that I met there, and we've had a very, very good friendship ever since, and met in Bergen, Norway a couple of times, and in London.
Right.
And it was a great opportunity to catch up with him. He saw that I was in Berlin, and he was like, let's do something.
I've got the tattoo for
Let's
you.
do a skull. Yeah. And he's very good at doing this very kind of abstract approach. And most of my other tattoos are by a guy called Phil Kyle, who is also friends with Benjamin.
So the
friend of mine.
right arm here, there's what does that look? That looks like a.
There's wolves. There's a Grim Reaper.
There's an eye there.
I've
triangle
got
eye.
Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath. There's the Sphinx.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Pentagrams, Baphomets. Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to take your clothes off in the middle of Gorley Park because no one will even bother.
I've got a 1 metre wolf down this side, done by Phil Kyle as well. On my chest, I have a death's head hawk moth and a crow. So yeah,
which was the first tattoo?
It was this one with the Grim Reaper on my arm. And it's very close to my most recent one as well.
Yes, indeed, they're connecting. But why did you have your first tattoo?
It was born out of my friendship with Phil Kyle, and he was famous for doing London Ink, the first of those types of shows where they kind of like worked with tattooists on the TV. I never saw an episode of it, but we became very good friends when he opened his shop in Brighton, and out of our friendship was born kind of going for drinks and deciding what we'd do the next day. and he has a great love of heavy stuff as well, and he championed Sea Bastard, and we put out the records on vinyl and stuff. So we've had a great working relationship. He lives in Brittany in France now, and he's got magnum opus tattoos out there. And I might be going to visit him soon on the ferry.
Fantastic.
In Saint-Malo.
Yeah, hopefully things are. I mean, you're here in Berlin, so it is possible to travel.
It's been my first opportunity to do so, and it was quite easy to come here. I was just dying to get out of England, and there's a very paranoid kind of feel in London at the moment, and it's not really come back to life because where there's no commuters coming into work because they're all working from home.
And we should say it's 2020 and it's the year of the pandemic.
The dreaded coronavirus.
Indeed.
And London's a lot more locked down still now than Berlin is. Berlin feels a lot freer and easier.
Yes, we were lucky. I think things were dealt with in a mature way.
Much lower cases here. And they're on the rise again in England, I've noticed, whilst I've been away. So I'll be going back into something that might be more resembling a harsher lockdown as well. So I should just stay, really.
Yes, please do, Ollie. You're welcome anytime to Berlin.
Thank you. I love it here.
Gorley Park.
Yeah.
Just to finish off, what are your plans then? More albums, more bands, more tattoos, more...
Yeah, well, during lockdown I've done a lot of recording of pieces of music, of riffs, and I don't like to embellish on them too much before I introduce them to the band. So at the moment I'm working very heavily on Gravelines stuff.
Right.
So the next Gravelines album's being brought together now that we can rehearse together out of a lot of material that I've written over the lockdown period. And I've also been working with my friend Pete Hambley on his canal boat, and we've been doing something very much more like Sonic Youth. So, but we haven't settled on a name yet, but we might be working with Jamie Oliver from UK Subs on drums.
I was going to say it's not Jamie Oliver the cook.
No. He's a very famous drummer though. This Jamie Oliver. Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie.
So yeah, I've been working on a lot of music over lockdown, and I felt like I hadn't done as much as I could, but I've definitely now I've been introducing it to the band. It's I've definitely done enough.
Yeah. Ollie, thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian. Lovely
joining
to see you again.
Me here for Radio 1 Berlin in Gorlitzer Park here, the former Gorlitzer Bahnhof, and look forward to another interview when you're here again.
When I next visit, yeah. So lovely to see you again, Adrian.
And you. And as you said before, Gravelines, the double album, Fed into the Nihilist Engine, is out now. Look it up, as well as all the other things in this programme. You can also look up the information on www.radio1berlin.com. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.